In many of my videos and the content that I make, I talk about the benefits of using an LLC when you're a non-resident and you're doing all your work and services outside of the United States. In this video, I want to talk about when a corporation is better because in many situations, paying taxes in the US and having a corporation is better. So let's get to a couple different examples. First, I want to give you some background in case this is your first video you've ever seen of me. A U.S. LLC is a disregarded entity for tax purposes in the U.S. So if I open an LLC, I pay taxes in my own name. I file personal tax returns. I don't file a company tax return. If I open a C corporation, the company is here. I'm here. If the company wants to pay me, there's official forms they have to file. If I want a dividend from the corporation, I have to pay taxes on it. It's much more complicated. And the U.S. corporation has to pay tax on its worldwide income just like I do. So if there's foreign subsidiaries, they have to be reported, they have to be disclosed. There's certain benefits that may arise in using a corporation instead of doing it personally, but that's the idea. The corporate tax rate right now is still only 21%. The personal tax rate, what I would pay as a U.S. person, U.S. citizen, is the top bracket of 37%. So one reason that, and this is for U.S. residents to use a corp instead of an LLC, is if I make $10 million, a flat 21% is much better than 37%. Obviously, there's way more to that, and that's kind of a loaded statement, but that's kind of the concept there. So, when is a corporation the best choice? So, this most often comes up for me when I'm dealing with clients who want to have a swift separation or a solid separation in their business activities. And using a corporation is the ultimate tool for avoiding double taxation. Obviously, it's like your operations impact more the risk of paying taxes in two countries. But if you have a business in Mexico and you have a business in the U.S., a corporation, I mean, then these businesses act independently and they generally wouldn't be taxed in the other country. When you're doing operations in Mexico, use your Mexican company. When you're doing US stuff, use your US company. So that's kind of the biggest thing. If you're an international business, I have a client who sells, they assemble movie theaters. So they manufacture them in their country and then they ship them over here and they install them and operate with their US corporation the same way. Actually, there's a treaty example for them which we've used to avoid needing the U.S. corporation, but we have it anyways just to avoid the foreign company having tax exposure in the U.S. So that's one reason. This is usually for like bigger businesses that plan to have an office, plan to have physical presence in the U.S. If you plan to have some physical presence in the U.S. and you have any kind of business, generally using a corporation will make it easier to file, it will make it cleaner, and it will be cheaper for you in the long run using a corporation if you're going to have physical presence in the United States. And that means offices, inventories, employees. If you're going to have a real business here, then a U.S. corporation will be better. Another reason is if your home country, another reason is if your home country tax rate is higher than 21% and you have enough income that you'd rather stick it at 21%. So this happens with many of my clients in Mexico. They have different investments here and they just use corporations and leave the money in the US so that they can pay the 21% tax rate instead of their higher Mexican tax rate. That means they have more money to invest year over year and they're paying less taxes in general. So a US corporation is better when your home country tax rate is higher than 21%. The last reason is that I'm going to talk about in this video is if you need to get capital from from US investors, from venture capital, from things like that. Generally, a US corporation is the vehicle used because you can issue shares and you can be more flexible with how you structure the ownership of your company. There's no public company LLCs. It's always a corporation that's public because you have to issue shares. And LLCs don't have shares, they have membership interests. And it's a different concept. A corporation can issue shares, different kinds of shares, as many shares as it wants, depending on what state you're working in and what their rules are. But that's generally how it works. So I have a client that came from South America as well. They had this company selling custom protein powder online. And with this, they wanted to partner with a US company and have US investors and sell more in the US market. So they opened a US corporation so they could issue convertible bonds, convertible debt to their investors. And that's how they wanted to raise their capital. And they needed a US corporation to do that. And they restructured it so the US corp owned their South American entity and that's how they were operating. So, in summary, there's three reasons that a non-resident would want a corp instead of an LLC. Yes, I'll say in the right order. The first one is because you want to legitimately expand into the US market and you want to have presence here and you want easier operations. Number two is because you want to avoid double taxation. I guess that's kind of one and two are the same thing, to expand to the US and avoid double taxation. The next one would be because you want to take advantage of the 21% corporate tax rate. And the last one was because you want to raise capital and go public and um, access the U.S. Stock market as a company. So those are three great reasons to use a U.S. corporation. Number one is the most common and the most basic reason. However, if you're all online, probably an LLC might be easier for you and easier to start and operate. So that's kind of, those are the differences there. And if you have any more questions about it, let me know, and I'm happy to help. Like, subscribe, comment, and do all of that. And I'm happy to see you here. And I hope you enjoyed the content. And let us know if you have any questions. We'll be in touch. See you in the next video. Thanks.